Hi everyone, it's Rax. I did a bunch of additional testing on leveling today, and Blizzard might make some changes, so I'll release my official leveling guide right before the expansion comes out. But I want to talk to you about it and explain to you why, well, I pretty much say this every season, but why it's probably going to be the easiest to level up in the Diablo 4 expansion than even any of the other previous seasons. So, when you buy the expansion, the first thing you're probably going to do is the campaign. I know that's what I'm going to do. I don't really care about racing at the beginning because I want to have fun and I want to enjoy the campaign one time, right? So then there's also going to be Season 6. If you didn't see my short, the Season 6 is the Season of Hatred with Mephisto. You're going to kill people and they're going to spawn like little portals and you're going to go in them. It sounds like something like that. Oh, cool, fine. So you do the Season 6 quest line. Now it's time to level up. By the way, I did my first practice run 1 to 60 with literally nothing, simulating a fresh start. I did it in 3 hours and 15 minutes. So it can be faster than this, just playing better. And I also use the sorcerer, it'd be faster on a necro, for example. You can definitely get 1 to 60 in under 3 hours, which is essentially like going 1 to 100 last time. So it's not going to be a problem. So you might do the campaign and then you do the season quest line. And now our task, let's put it at step 4. Our task is to reach level 40. When you've reached level 40, your path to 60 is pretty much fixed. And the reason why, actually, I just realized something. It's actually lower than 40. It would actually be like, in the expansion, it might be like 37 because I forgot about Nahantu. Anyway, the idea is you have the 5 regions of the map, okay, and now you have Nahantu, and all you do is ride around and do all of the strongholds everywhere in the world, and it doesn't take that long. You can do all of them in like an hour just riding around, and that will level you currently without Nahantu from 40 to 60, so in the expansion it'll be something like 37 to 60, and you're done. Now, why is that? Well, strongholds were changed, and the turn-ins are extremely, extremely valuable. Not really the killing of the monsters in the strongholds, but the turn-in is so valuable that it will actually just get you all the way to max level, and it's faster than anything. It's faster than Helltides, it's faster than Nightmare Dungeons. It's definitely how you do it. So what do you do from here to 37, especially in the future seasons where if you don't have the campaign, you probably only do the campaign once or twice. Well, the best place to start is either Helltide or the PvP zone. And the reason why the PvP zone is good is because if you kill the boss, it gives you 5 of the Grim Favors for the turn-in for the Tree of Whispers. And when you turn in the Tree of Whispers, usually you get 1 Nightmare Dungeon key, and you get 30 Sigil, which I think is half of the cost to craft another key. Once you get 1 Nightmare Dungeon key, you're good. And that's the same thing we would be hunting for in the Helltide. We can pick up some of the chests there, and they group together the Tree of Whisper Grim Favors there. So you get them all. Then you go turn it in, and then you have a Nightmare Dungeon key. And then you just do Nightmare Dungeons over and over and over until you're 37. Over and over. Just keep plugging them. Nice and easy. You have to go get your class mechanic when you're 15, 25 for necromancers. Go get your class mechanic. And that's it. It's pretty smooth sailing all the way to 60 when you start doing all of the strongholds. So now that you're 60, now what do you do? Well, if you have a build that is even remotely resembling anything good, you can instantly do Pit 20. Instantly. You can go right away and unlock Torment 1. And Torment 1 is really, really easy. Like, brand new, fresh 60. You don't like have any, like maybe you have your gear tempered, no masterworking, no paragon point, nothing. It's real easy, as long as you've got any decent build from Maxroll for any of the classes. From here, you can easily farm on T1, and T1 can drop any item in the game. It can drop a 4 Greater Affix, Mythic Unique, Shaco. It can drop anything in the game. You never have to progress to T2 or T3 or T4. You do want to, though. You're incentivized to do so. Because, for example, in Nightmare Dungeons in T1, I believe every elite drops 3 masterworking materials, and in T4 they drop 20. T3 is 10, and I don't know what T2 is. I'm guessing it's like 7. So you get 7x the loot if you go to T4. Similarly, on T1, if you kill a tormented boss, they usually drop 1 unique, whereas on T4, it's like 4 or 5. So you get a massive influx of items. But for now, on T1, you use it to farm all of your aspects. You use it to farm your basic intro masterworking materials so you can get to T4, do the climb in the pit, and you farm some basic boss mats. So I made a decent Incinerate Sorcerer, and I tried the boss on T2 with almost nothing, and it was very, very difficult. But T1 was a joke and died instantly. So if you have a build, like if you want to play Lightning Spear, for example, which requires you to have a Fractured Winter Glass from Zir, then you can farm enough Excusi Blood, which is 12, to summon him. But you're going to have a hard time getting it on T1 because it only drops 1 item, sometimes 2 if you're lucky. So the strategy here is you really have 2 main modes you can play in. You can play in Helltide, or you can play in Nightmare Dungeons. And I assume, keep in mind, there's also the Season 6 mechanic. Maybe that will be good. And they're also going to bring back Infernal Hordes. So that might be really good as well. But for now, these are the 2 that I can actually test. Helltide is very good because the Blood Maiden drops at least 1 Excusi Blood every time you kill her. And then when you open the chests, it drops Living Steel to fight Grigor. And then the random elites can drop anything, including Excusi Blood or Malignant Hearts or whatever. Nightmare Dungeons are good because they give you the masterworking materials, and at the end it always gives you Distilled Fear for Beast and Ice. And again, any of the elites can randomly drop any of the boss materials. So they're both pretty good. For me personally, on my Sorcerer today, if I want to play Lightning Spear and I need Zir and I need Excusi Blood, you're going to get more of it in Helltide because the Blood Maiden drops it. Then what you will do is you will go to the Party Finder, and it works pretty good. And then you say, you make a group or you join a group and you say, I want to do Zir, and then you share. Sharing is caring. So when you farm 12 Excusi Blood and you each do 1 rotation, now all of a sudden you have 4 kills on T1 instead of 1. You 4x'd your mats. So the second you get 12, you can go right on in there and kill them a bunch of times and hopefully get your 1 unique. As you're doing this, you're gaining Paragon levels, and you see your power levels start to rise. Your items, you get your full aspects, they'll start to drop. You might get lucky and get a couple of ancestral items, but they're pretty rare. Most of your gear will still be 750. And then at this point, you can respec to kind of your end game setup without your mythic uniques, and then start your pit push. T4 is going to take a little bit of time. I think it's going to be really good if you can get to T4 in like 6 hours, like for a really experienced blaster player. But even when you reach T4, unless you're playing an insanely broken build, I don't think T4 is going to be immediately farmable. So still, people will be farming in T2 or T3. You don't want it like the health jump from T3 to T4 is like many, many orders of magnitude. So you'll want to stay wherever you're comfortable farming, but you do want to get out of T1 if you can, because the Uber bosses only drop one drop compared to, I think, T3 drops like 3 or 4. That's a huge difference. Then when you jump in the Party Finder, it's magnified even further, right? And that's the basic progression of a character. So I do think that this is far more interesting than the old progression system. And by the way, I forgot to mention one key thing. Can I go back for one moment here? So the interesting thing about this particular part, where you go from 37 to 60 with the strongholds, remember that the turn-in gives you all the XP, and not really the kills within the stronghold. And the XP, from what I can see, is exactly the same whether you turn it in on normal or if you're very brave and you turn it all the way up to penitent. So what I actually do is I play up to 37 on expert, and then the second that I got to the strongholds, I actually dropped it to hard. Because hard was very easy for me to just crush. I didn't have to waste any time fighting like long boss fights. And the turn-in was the same value at the end. You could even drop it to normal. That might actually be the play. The moment you turn to 37, you actually drop it to normal, and then you do all the strongholds. You're going to level arguably faster than someone suffering on penitent because you just get the clears so much quicker. So anyway, I mean, this little painting looks like a complete catastrophe now, as they always do. But I wanted to give you like the thoughts that are in my mind, which allowed me to get a 3 hour and 15 clear already. We're obviously going to do the campaign in the season 6. Then you do Helltide to get, or PvP to get a Nightmare Dungeon key. Nightmare Dungeons till 37, pick up your class mechanic. Drop the difficulty to hard or normal. Run around on your mount, clear all the strongholds one time. It's really nice also because you also get all the waypoints, and the renown turn-in for the XP is also very valuable. Then we're looking for boss mats. Helltide is really good for Excusi Blood and Living Steel. Nightmare Dungeons are really good for Distilled Fear, but you can get any of them anywhere, and also the world bosses. Gather up your boss mats, go to the party finder, share the kills, get that one item that you really need, then put in your Paragon points, your glyphs, the gear that you've gotten so far. Then you do a push in the pit. Maybe you get to T3. Then figure out where you can farm very efficiently. Maybe you're still stuck on T1. You're not quite strong enough. Maybe now you can farm on T2. Keep working on it. Get the really, really good stuff. And then you unlock T4. And eventually when you hit max power, you're going to be raffle stomping T4. We'll see where the Infernal Hordes play in and where Season 6 is going to play in. And also there's the raids and the Undercity Kurast. There's a lot of stuff to figure out here, but I will figure it out instantly. And when I have it all perfect, I'll update my sheet and you'll know exactly what to do. Just a quick little update, guys, and I'll make many more videos probably every single day of the PTR with more stuff that I find out. And there is good news. There's a bunch of new builds that look absolutely godly. I'll make them and I'll show them to you as well. Thank you.